Oh yeah, thanks you guys. I appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time to have me on here.
I think it's pretty cool what you guys are doing. Very good questions and what a lot of research.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you guys asking me to be a part of this.
That was too cool, bro. And I was between shifts. I'm between shifts right now. I think I'm gonna be between shifts the rest of my life.
What's up, friends of the show, and welcome back to the Between Shifts podcast. Today we have a guest who we're so glad came down off the mountain to join us in the studio. He's been a pioneer in the surfing community, paving a path in the sand for young athletes. He's an avid outdoorsman, a passionate family man, a classic Bronco owner, and he's never turned down a chance to give back to his community. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Marty Phelps.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's a real honor to be here.
Yeah.
I've been listening to your podcast for a while. We were on our way back from a trip from Idaho, and Mitchell's mom and dad turned us on to it. And I think we listened to 4 of them. So 6 hours.
It's quite a few.
They were, my heroes within the community, like Brian Overfelt and John Lowings, Matt Hogan, Gene Lindsay, to name a few. Oh, Steve Hawk as well.
Steve Hawk was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great guy. I actually really like doing Steve's episode, and I think it was a long one.
Yeah.
So it's hopefully everyone listened to the end
He's
of that
an interesting guy.
Yeah. Awesome.
What were you doing in Idaho?
We went up to, Mitchell.
Yep.
And his fiance at the time, now wife, was graduating from nursing school. And I had never been to Idaho. I've never been to Wyoming or Montana. So we did about 2.5 weeks, and we went and saw Yellowstone Glacier. What was the other one? Grand Teton.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then visited some friends along the way.
Cool.
So, really good trip.
That's awesome. And speaking of that wedding.
Oh, yeah. It was a wonderful wedding.
It was a great wedding.
Yeah.
You got to, what's that called?
Officiate, I guess. Yeah.
Great speaker.
Oh, well,
So we're very happy to have you here.
That was a fun one because it was Mitchell. You know,
Yeah.
he's like a son to me.
Yeah. He's a good guy. Shout out to the Kings.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, to start off, where are you from, and what was it like growing up there?
Okay, so I'm from all over the place. I was born in Santa Rosa, California, and only lived there till I was about 4 years old. My dad was in the cutting edge of technology at that time. He was working for OCLI Labs as they were getting into fiber optics, and that was even before lasers. And he took a job in Ann Arbor, Michigan when I was 4. We moved there, and then we were only there for 2.5, maybe 3 years, and then ended up in Southern California, all around Orange County. But I guess if you were to call a town my hometown when I was a kid, it would be San Clemente.
Okay. Yeah. And is that when surfing came into your life?
Yeah, so we were probably living in Mission Viejo at the time when I got into, my best friends that I was growing up with down there, we got into body surfing, which then I think I was 11, right?
Yeah.
So we got into just crazy about body surfing, and then my buddy's dad bought us some surf mats. They were like these really heavy canvas surf mats. And, we would take the Orange County Transit District bus over to Laguna Beach every afternoon, and we would ride the closeouts on those things until, literally our stomachs would just go raw, and, take a shower and your nipples would just burn, whatever. But that was the way it was. And then remember watching, it was so I'm talking about early 70s, right?
Okay.
And we're at Laguna Beach, and I see these older guys, these really old guys, probably 15 or 16 years old. And they were on these new boards, that they were the soft rubber, but they had rails on it, and they were dropping in on the waves, and they're making bottom turns, and then they're flying off the lip, and what is that? And then I think the next issue, Surfer Magazine, had boogie boards on it.
Yeah.
So we took the bus down to Dana Point, and there was Hobie Surf Shop, and that's where, I forgot what his name was Hobie Alter.
Okay.
The dad. He had that surf shop there. and he had a stack of boogie boards, and I bought one of the first boogie boards, and I remember it had a black deck and a blue bottom on it, and very first time I went out, I made my first bottom turn, and
Nice.
it was that nice, like kind of soft, like skin on it, and
Yeah.
it didn't rub you raw. It was
Yeah.
great. So first surfboard was my 13th birthday,
Okay.
or I'm sorry, it was Christmas. It was a Christmas present.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was reading about it, and I think it was 1971 or something like that, and it
Yeah.
was the first time, like immediately after the boogie boards had
Yeah.
came out, and you were on the cutting edge of that technology.
Yeah. It was,
And were they released as boogie boards?
they were.
Okay, not
Yeah.
body boards.
No, it was a boogie board.
Boogie
yeah.
board. Yep.
That's so cool. That's awesome. So you said you started your life in Santa Rosa. Do you remember that kind of move to Ann Arbor and
I do. And,
learning about seasons
as-
for the first time?
Probably that trip out there, I was 4 years old. I think my sister was 6. And my dad, I'm a car guy, as your dad is, right? And my dad had a 1964 Falcon convertible, not a car for Ann Arbor, Michigan. But we drove cross country in that car. And that was a really memorable trip, leaving California. And then I just remember waking up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. My dad had rented a farmhouse, a little old farmhouse out there that he thought was really quaint. And I thought that was just bitching. It was snow everywhere. It was just so different. Woke up in the morning and I was playing with my Hot Wheels on the hardwood floor. I thought that was cool because every house, that we lived in had carpeting, and that had hardwood floor. And my mom woke up and she got up and looked at the house and go, "This house is old. I can't live here. The walls are leaning," or whatever. So I think the next day we moved into a brand new apartment.
Okay. But still the first time
Yeah.
experiencing seasons.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and I loved it as a
Yeah.
kid. It was great.
Yeah.
Did-
Not so much now.
Oh no, I don't think I could live there now.
Did you get in any sports as a kid?
So, I was strong. I was fast. I was a lousy athlete. Like I have no hand-eye coordination
Okay.
whatsoever. I would play football, and if you gave me the ball, I was good, but I couldn't catch it. You'd have to hand it to me. So,
Yeah.
but no, I did do sports. I did water polo and swimming. Water polo is a great sport for me because a big ball, just had to get close,
Yeah.
and I was a fast swimmer.
Nice.
There you go. It's a winning recipe.
Yeah, I started that at 4th grade. I did swimming, water polo all the way from 4th grade all the way through high school, and then I swam competitively when you're in college.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people don't start water polo until high school. Like, I feel like that's not really an option nowadays.
Yeah, Southern California is a lot different. Water polo was
Yeah.
a much bigger sport. Like
Yeah.
when I was at San Clemente High School, and you go to a water polo game, we had cheerleaders, and
Well,
they had stadium seating, and it would be full. And I moved up to Northern California my junior year of high school, and I went to Sequoia High School. I got on the water polo team, and first game I remember was at Woodside Priory, and I was expecting the same kind of thing as Southern California. And I'm looking, I was like, "Where is everybody?"
there's also a low attendance of students at that school anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Yeah, it was a lot different experience.
it's funny.
With that.
Did you surf any chance you got to, like when you were not in swim season?
Well, our house in San Clemente was, well, first of all, you got to go back into the 70s. San Clemente was such a cool town. It still is, but it's really grown. So back in the 70s, it probably had a population similar to what Half Moon Bay has right now.
Okay.
Okay. And the high school was like the focus of the town, much like Half Moon Bay. In fact, when I think back as a kid in San Clemente, it just reminds me so much of what it is like right here.
Okay.
And the community and just, everybody looked out for each other. And so our house was in Shorecliff, which is on the north end of town. And it had a direct view right onto Poche Reef. So in Poche Reef picks up south swell. I could watch the waves break, and I knew when, my dad felt guilty, I think, moving us up to Northern California at that time because I was just entering my junior year in high school. I was surfing every day. I was working as a lifeguard at the beach. I was on the swimming team, water polo team. Life was great. And he said, I took a job in Palo Alto. So we're moving. He felt guilty. So he started looking at neighborhoods and places for us to live. And I think one of the first places he looked was right here in Half Moon Bay. But he couldn't stomach the drive over 92. So he got us as close. He wanted to keep me on the water.
Yeah.
It was really nice of him. So he bought a house in Redwood Shores right on the wide water. It was a brand new area, and there was nothing out there at the time, and bought me a windsurfer.
That's awesome.
And I got into that.
So it was you and the sailboats out there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
So that filled that gap.
Yeah.
But I did have my orthodontist was still in San Clemente, which gave me a free pass to go. I mean, literally my entire junior and senior year, I'd go down every 6 weeks to get my orthodontic appointment in, and then I'd stay for the weekend with my friends. I kept my boards there and still stayed active.
Did you just not bother coming over here to surf, really?
I did not have a wetsuit for here. I had a Bailey's spring suit, and that was like what I wore in San Clemente in the summer. And other things, which we'll get into, kind of took over my life. So there was a long period of time I did not surf.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And then what was your first job growing up?
Well,
lifeguarding.
No, I mean, I started working really early. I spent a lot of time in Santa Rosa. So my aunt and uncle still lived in Santa Rosa, and my aunt, who's 99, still lives there today. And my sister and I would go visit them every summer and spend sometimes months there. We love Santa Rosa, and my dear cousins, and especially Erica. She's like another sister to me. But we feel like, in a way, both Naomi, my sister, and I feel like we grew up in Santa Rosa as well as Orange County. We have deep roots there. My uncle was a very, very successful businessman. He started importing like these really fine wall coverings that were really popular in the 70s. And I worked for him. I started working for him when I was like 12 years old.
Like wallpaper?
Wallpaper.
Okay.
He was a wallpaper mogul.
Okay.
Seriously. And so working for him, and I have several mentors in my life, which I'll get into, but he was one of them. And he taught me how to work hard. So I'd say that was my first job, was working in his warehouse. But I did work as a lifeguard. I worked in those early years. Probably my first real paid job was at a gun club.
Nice.
A Laguna Hills gun club. I would ride my moped from San Clemente to Laguna Hills to work at this gun club.
What moped?
It was a
Honda Spree?
Oh no, what was it? It was a Pooch, I think. It was orange.
Okay.
And it had a banana seat on it instead of just a single seat, so I could give girls rides on it. I put pegs on it. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And it was probably my first hot rod because, those things were governed to go 28 miles per hour.
Yeah.
First thing I did when I bought is I took the muffler apart. I drilled it all out to free up the exhaust, and then I tweaked the carburetor. I could get that thing up to 31 miles per hour.
Nice.
I had the fastest moped in the neighborhood.
And probably the loudest.
The loudest too.
That's awesome. Well, then, so you ended up in Northern California. You went to school in Sac State, and then you came back and moved here. What about it? Like Northern California was so attractive to you?
Well, first thing is it didn't take me long to realize how awesome it is up here. Okay, so moved up 1978 and got into windsurfing, made a lot of good friends just with that. And we had our own little crew right in Redwood Shores that, after school, we'd go windsurfing. I'd made lifelong friends, my buddy Keith. and my brother-in-law, Ralph, just super quality people that I met early in those days. But really the thing that I liked about Northern California was, I remember the first day that we went out to dinner. My dad took us down El Camino, and we went to this restaurant. It's called Two Guys from Italy. And I'm sitting at the window and I'm looking. This is in the 70s, El Camino. The car culture in this area. I mean, there was just hot rods driving up and down the street. And my dad had a 70 Cuda, which eventually became mine. So it was like, that was cool. Had the windsurfing. And then I met my friends playing water polo. My buddy Steve, who I'm still like one of my closest friends today. All that was happening. And then I got this job at Marine World. Our back of our house was like this, just open to had the water and then salt flats. And then there's this wild animal park. You could hear lions roaring at night. You can hear the elephants trumpeting. And my mom, she's like, Martin, you need to go apply for a job there. My mom's Japanese. So anyways, I did. And I fell in love with elephants. And I ended up spending 8 years of my life working with elephants.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first applied for that job?
I was 16.
Okay. Wow.
And was that like starting at 16? I'm assuming this is.
I worked there when I was 16, and then when Marine World moved in 1985 was the year that Cindy and I got married, and I had already been there 8 years.
Wow.
I was ready to move on to something else, and we didn't want to leave the Bay Area to go to Vallejo, so. That's when I left. That was 85. I did work a little bit in 86. Again, another one of my life mentors is my boss there, who was the head trainer, manager was David. And if he and a couple of the other guys had to go to a conference, and I would come in and fill in and take care of the elephants. And I did that a little bit in 86.
So Marine World was in Redwood Shores?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's right where the Oracle building is. In fact, I lived there. I lived right on the Marine World in the park. They let me have a trailer, and I parked it there. So in 1980, the year I graduated high school, my parents moved to Auburn. My dad's company moved up to Auburn, and they said, you can come with us or you can stay here. I'm like, no way.
There's elephants.
I got the elephants. Yeah. I got my windsurfing, everything that's going on. I just graduated high school. So I first moved out with some friends, and then somehow I ended up renting this 18-foot Terry trailer that was fully self-contained. And I was deep in it with the animals, and I went to my boss and said, hey, can I plop this trailer on here and live here? And I'll be on call if you guys ever need anything at the night. I can look after the animals. And they took it to the board of directors, and the president, who's Mike Demetrius, they gave me the green light. So I got to live right there. It was awesome. I felt like, you guys wouldn't know, you're too young, but Rockford Files.
Yeah.
Jim Rockford, he lived in a trailer.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What was your favorite part about the job, like at Marine World, besides working with the elephants?
Well, I think a lot of things, and most of it's where it is. 2 weeks ago, we had a 40th reunion of all the people that I worked with there, all the full-time staff.
Wow.
That were at the Redwood. They called it the Redwood City Marine World because Redwood Shores is Redwood City, and it's really the people that we worked with. We became family, and we learned a lot as young people. You learned to work in a corporate environment. I mean, they employed 600 people during the seasonal part of the year, and we learned how to talk to people, and how to manage people and how to be managed. And while we're taking care of these amazing animals. So it was, the whole experience was very unique.
And then from graduating high school, working at Marine World, and then going to college, and then the busy year you had after you finished college, can you tell me about basically your college experience? Were you working at Marine World while
I was,
going to college?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was again, so I went to Sacramento State. Well, so right out of high school, I kind of went to CSM for 2 years. Okay. So, and that was, keep my parents happy. You're going to college. I'm like, okay. So I took classes, and after 2 years of going to CSM, I transferred with like one semester's worth of units. So I had to go into Sac State as a freshman. And the good thing about CSM is that's where I met Cindy, my wife.
Nice.
And but it was a little embarrassing because I convinced her to go to Sac State. She already had been accepted to Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, and she had already had her dorm picked out, and everything was all set. And my buddy Mark and I, the geniuses that we were, we convinced her on, oh, you should go to Sac State with us. It's, close to skiing, and it's, not so far from home, and it's inexpensive and everything. So, she's like, oh, okay. So she went to her counselor and said, I want to go to Sac State instead of Santa Barbara. And he looked at her and said, are you nuts? And she said, yeah, no, my boyfriend's going there and his friend, they said it's great and whatever. So she transfers and gets right in. She got good grades in high school. She graduated from CSM with her AA with good grades. She had no problem. But me, on the other hand, I was a C student all the way through everything, right? So I thought Sac State's going to be easy. I applied. I went on a ski trip for the weekend with my buddy Mark, my buddy Liam, and we pulled in to my trailer at Marine World as the sun's coming up the day I'm supposed to take the SAT test. So needless to say, I took the SAT and I didn't get accepted into Sac State. My girlfriend's already in. That didn't look good.
Yeah.
So I learned that you don't ever give up. I called the admissions counselor and I told him the whole situation. I just said, this is it. She left. Parents are pissed at me. Her parents are pissed at me. I got to do something. He says, you get your ass in here. I'm going to let you take the SAT in front of me in my office. And I did.
Nice.
And I got what I needed to get in.
Nice.
That could have been bad.
It could have been really bad.
Sweat that whole story.
Skin of your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and your wife was from the Bay Area then? So
Yeah,
you said
so
her
Cindy,
father
she's
was
born and raised in San Carlos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying her father-in-law was someone that you would windsurf with?
No.
Or was it
So my father-in-law, her
Their
dad,
son,
was actually one of my instructors. He was a professor at CSM.
Okay.
He taught business. And that was one of the classes that I liked when I went there. It was called cooperative education. I'm a very applied person, right? So my first business, which was a side hustle when I was working with the elephants, was I got a dealership selling windsurfers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was called Windworks, Bikeworks. It's kind of
ties it all together.
Yeah,
So classic.
Windworks gave windsurfing lessons and sold windsurfers. It was a different brand. It was Magnum. It was the first European brand that came into the U.S. And so you could get school credits by doing something like that. Okay. And that was he was the teacher that you would go to for that. And
nice.
And so before we even were dating, he was already my teacher.
Okay. So you had an in.
I had an in. Yeah.
That's awesome. So just after college, then you guys got married, you and Cindy.
Yeah. So
had she already finished earlier than you did? Or?
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so let me just backtrack a little bit, right? So the first time I saw Cindy was at CSM, and I remember I was coming out of where, all the food court was or whatever. And I walk out and I see her walking across the quad. And I think I was, 18 years old. I had no, I wasn't looking for like a long-term relationship or anything, but I saw her and I'm like, oh, wow. I want to marry that girl.
Wow.
And that's like at 18. And so, I was all awkward around her or whatever, but eventually she ended up in a class with me. And then we started studying together and then started dating. And that's how we ended up in Sac State. But she finished in 2 years. We got to Sac State. Keep in mind, I'm a freshman, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of catching up to. I basically had to take 21 units every semester, and I got done in 3 years.
Okay.
But I proposed to her before she graduated, so I could make sure that
you had someone to come home to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, and then you guys, I guess, moved back to the Bay Area then, right?
We moved back to the Bay Area. So we got married in 1985, and we rented a little house in Belmont. I knew I wanted to live coastside. And this goes all the way back to San Clemente. I remember sitting in the hot tub with friends after surfing, and we're all talking about, where are you going to live when you grow up? And the whole debate came, is it mountains or ocean? Mountains or ocean?
Yeah.
And everyone's picking, I'm going to live in the mountains, I'm going to live in the ocean. I want both.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, that doesn't exist. And I believed it didn't really exist either until my buddy Keith was getting into, this is early 80s, bought a mountain bike. He bought a Univega. Yep. He's like, you got to get a mountain bike. So I went and I saved up $300 and I bought a Diamondback.
Nice. Yeah.
Chromoly.
Yeah.
Not all chromoly, but just on the stays or whatever.
Back before they were Walmart bikes.
Yeah, I was going to say my first bike was also a Diamondback, but it was a Walmart bike.
Yeah. So we rode up Kings Mountain Road up to Skyline and then dropped back down. Back then you could ride through Huddart Park.
Yep.
I don't know if it was legal, but you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were just taking all the single tracks through and discovering Skyline Boulevard. I'm like, people live up here?
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. And you can see the ocean?
Yeah.
So that became a goal. So in 1986, Cindy and I bought our first house up on Kings Mountain. And we've been there ever since. Not in that house. We lived in that house for 6 years and then to the house that we're at right now.
Yeah. It's got to be weird meeting all the neighbors up there at the first time you move up there because that is a tight community.
It's very tight. Yeah.
That is tighter than even we grew up with.
Well, when you only have 1,000 people, in that, you get to know, there's probably a third of the people don't want to be known and they're recluse. And then the other 2/3 are very, very social. And there's a lot of focus around the Kings Mountain Art Fair and the volunteering and the school and the fire department and all that.
Did you know you were getting yourself into all that?
I signed up for the fire department right when I moved in.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. So I became a volunteer firefighter for several years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I guess you started your company that same year.
Yeah, everything happened.
Everything happened in 86.
I started in 1986. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. That's a busy
the
year.
Village Collection was originally, my first real account was building picture frames for Cindy worked at an art gallery that her aunt and uncle owned, and they did very high-end custom framing at the art gallery plus showing art, and that they would do like 30 frames a week out of there, and I got the contract to build all their picture frames, so that was like my mainstay of the business. And then Cindy and I, being just married and broke, she wanted furniture. I'm like, I'll try making it. I made us a bed, I made us a hutch, I made us armoire, I made us coffee table, and got enough confidence to go into a furniture store and say, hey, I can build this anything you want, custom, and started doing that. And then I hired my brother-in-law, who's still with our company today, and he's actually a much better carpenter or craftsman than I am. But anyways, he started working for me. And then Cindy's sister, she was in Bath, England doing graduate work in architecture. She had just graduated from UCLA, and she came back and she started doing design work for me. And, well, she's a better designer than me. So, we hired Debbie, and then the two, Debbie and Ralph together, they started making googly eyes, and they got married. And then in 1992, when we incorporated the company, then Debbie became a partner of the business.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
how did you find that route? How did you find that line of work when you came from like your dad being in the tech world, and then, I'm sorry, was it your uncle that did the wallpaper?
Yeah.
So like wallpaper mogul, tech world. How does custom furniture, custom cabinets come into that?
Well, you guys are young, so I would say, the things that I would say, there's not any one thing that led me to what I do, but I say I had a series of people that I admired, and my uncle being one, my dad being another one, my wife's father being another one, and then my old boss. And I think what I ended up doing is just kind of converging all these things that I observed, learned, and admired from all of them into my business practice, the way I look at business. My uncle was an amazing businessman in the sense that he would just, he would always say, you can talk about things, you can think about things, or you can just go and do it. Yeah. And then he really honored the employees. He'd take good care of your employees and focus on quality. David, my boss at Marine World, he was not only phenomenal with animals, but he was he was just brilliantly smart about people and motivation, and always, making things better. Cindy's dad. So this shirt I'm wearing, this is Cindy's dad's shirt. That's wow. He just had this mentor quality. He could really listen to people. And he was just so good with advice, really sound advice. And he was a teacher. He had a lot of experience and patience. My dad was extremely smart also. And when I graduated high school, my dad brought me to Coherent, where he was working, and ran me through every department in that company to see if there's anything that, interested me in the corporate world. It didn't, but I liked the way my dad, I really admired the way, my dad had a phenomenal work ethic. I think of as a kid, he never called in sick. I don't think he ever missed a day at work.
Yeah.
But he was just steady and calm all the time. And he was calm with people. He was extremely respectful to everybody. So I just pick and choose, a bunch of things that were just kind of converged from everybody. I had a passion for woodworking. Okay. So I just pulling it all together.
Yeah. When did the woodworking itself start? Were you doing that from a younger age?
No, other than wood shop in high school, but design, that was always a hobby of mine. You could put me with pencil and paper, and I would be drawing houses, cars, anything I could design. I would do that ever since I was 7, 8 years old.
You ever get to do kind of a combo? I mean, we'll get into it later with your passion for cars and restoring them and stuff, but you ever get that crossover of being able to do some of your carpentry work and custom woodwork with cars?
I tried that for a while.
Yeah.
Just, during COVID, everything was locked down. I got a little crazy about designing. I'm into off-road travel, overland travel. So I designed these cases that would go in the back of Jeeps, or that had little kitchens in them, Sprinter vans and stuff like that. Created a website, and we did 1 or 2 production runs of them. They sold out right away. But we've been so swamped with architectural stuff that I just never kept up with that. But it was a fun project.
I do remember when you were doing that, actually. I was over at the King's house, and you were like, you're showing me everything. I'm like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
So
I may circle back to it someday. But
that'd be cool. Yeah. It'd be a passion project, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That'd be cool. But so your dad was in tech, but he wasn't necessarily. He said he was more on the corporate side of things.
So my dad was, he ended up being vice president of CVI Laser, which is this laser optics company in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Kind of full circle for my family because my dad's uncle he was actually a botany professor, but he got recruited by Oppenheimer on the development of the atomic bomb. He didn't know it at the time. And my dad's company was anti-nukes, taking them down. I think what their focus was. I'm like, geez, Dad, you guys, you develop it and now you're taking it down.
Yeah.
Well, there was nothing, even with your dad being a high up at that company, there was nothing that kind of interested you in that field. Nothing.
No. I've always been a hands-on person.
Yeah. Don't blame you.
Well, going back into the whole animal training, like kind of a large chunk of your life, what was the closest call you had while being a handler?
Oh, elephants are, we're not probably the most dangerous animal. When I tell you, you'll probably laugh, but elephants are, their loyalty towards humans and their relationship with humans, I would put it along like with the dog.
Wow.
So the elephant that I worked with, mostly her name was Taji. And I would come in the morning and she would be so excited to see. Actually, all of the elephants would just, scream with excitement when we come into work. They'd be trumpeting and thumping their trunk, and they're very tactile. They open their mouth because they want you to rub their tongue. And so morning greetings were like that. And then leaving at the end of the day is like you try and leave, but they're grabbing you and bringing you in for a hug, like, don't go. So, but they are a 8 to 10,000 pound animal. Yeah. And unlike a dog or even a horse, you can't throw a leash on them and control them. You have to build a lot of trust because they are performing or doing the things that you need them to do on voice commands. And and they can squish you like a bug if they're pissed off at you. And the elephants that we had there, I would say that we were more like an elephant rescue because most of the elephants that we got were, either blackballed from a circus or some other place because they had behavioral issues where they might have gone after a trainer or run loose from a parade mowing down people. So we had to really build this relationship with these animals in a very loving way. And that's, again, circling back to David, my boss, is he was just magical about how to be consistent to get these animals to trust you. So the animal that probably did the most harm on me would be a llama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the amount of spit you took.
So during the school year, I would work, a couple nights a week as a night keeper. And our job was that we had to go around. The way this park was surrounded by water, and they had all the different animals segmented in what they called islands. They weren't really islands, but they were just segmented. And you had to go in and you had to open up the enclosures so that they could go in at night and feed them. And there was a male llama. And I'm trying to remember what his name is. It could have been Asshole, but I don't remember his name. But he would see me coming and he'd just start screaming and he'd start working up all his cud and ready to, and then, you'd go up and he'd just be spitting at you. So I had a real trick, I had to like come up and kind of get around, grab an ear, throw his harness on him, get his head down and get him in. And if you missed, then, he's up on his hind legs trying to come down on you. And he chased me out in the wild. I got chased by a rhino once out into the lagoon.
He said that so calmly.
A few things I had, I got tormented by a spider monkey. My first night keeping, you get trained a couple of nights, and it's like your job is that you have to go out and you had to, get all the animals checked at night. Some you had to put in, some you had to put feed out, and you had to walk along this area that was called the veldt. And you'd get stalked by an ostrich the whole time. And so I thought, I'm going to be a little smarter about this. We had a Boston whaler boat. I can see all the animals by the boat. So I'll just cruise the lagoon at night, shine my flashlight, and I get out to Monkey Island, as they called it. And so all these spider monkeys, and I climb out of the boat and get onto the island. I'm like, you got to count all the animals to make sure they're there. And I'm like, I only see 20, and there's supposed to be 21. I'm like looking. And then I think I see when as I'm looking at it, this one's, his name was the Fool, swung down out of a tree and grabbed my hat. And he's like swinging off with the hat, laughing at me. Yeah. So then I spent like literally the next half hour trying to get this hat back. And he would do the proverbial, put the hat down, and just kind of watching when you go to grab it, then he'd grab it and swing off again. And then finally, he put the thing down. I set my flashlight down, grabbed the hat, he grabbed my flashlight. And then we played that whole game all over again. So
that's pretty awesome.
Oh man, did they tell you in the job description that all these?
I could write a book on some of those experiences.
Yeah,
believe me.
And then we have to touch on the camel racing. What?
Okay, so 1984. I'm like 1 year away from graduating from college, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to focus on what's going to be next in my career. So I told my boss, I said, I'm not going to come back for 85 because I need to, either start applying to grad school or figure something else out. And they had promoted me to an assistant manager, and they really needed me for that season. So in the summertime, we would get all the interns from college, mostly Cal Poly and Davis.
Okay.
And they needed someone to manage the cruise. And they were offered, they needed somebody to go to Australia to enter in the Australian Camel Cup, because back then, the Camel Cup, which was Philip Morris, not Philip Morris, RJ Reynolds, big cigarette company.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, I was going to say, please tell me it was sponsored by Camel.
It was. And they reached out to Marine and said, can you send us a camel racer? Because we want a U.S. This event had been going on for like 50 years, and they want to make it an international event. Yeah. So they reached out to Japan. They reached out to the U.S. The guy from Japan didn't show up, but they got me, so they got kind of representation of both. But
so you were the one guy that got picked in the U.S. to go race camels in Australia.
Yeah, it wasn't really that. It was, I've worked with camels. We had camels, and we did ride them a lot.
Okay.
And we did do exhibition races just for fun out at Bay Meadows. You guys,
I remember Bay Meadows. Yeah,
Bay Meadows, and then at Napa. What's the raceway there?
Sonoma.
Yeah, it was called Sonoma back then. Now it's something Infineon.
Yeah.
And so we did do that. Okay. So I was a camel racer, I guess.
When you say camel racer, were you a jockey?
I was.
You were riding these things?
So anyways, Marine World, they said, would you like to go to Australia? I'm like, yeah. And they said, all expense paid. I'm like, great. And said, well, you can do that if you work another year for us. So it was like it was a little caveat. Then I'm like, all right, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
So I did, and I had to convince a couple of my professors to let me out of school a couple of weeks early, and that wasn't even that easy.
Yeah.
But I did.
You're like, I already signed a contract.
I brought my wife, who was my fiance at the time, and my two cousins. They came, and it was a great experience. I was, I think, 22 years old. Camel racing. I land in Alice Springs, and they have immediately I'm on TV. I'm getting interviewed on the radio. They gave me a credit card, so you can do whatever you want. They gave me a car, and I raced camels for 1 day.
Wow.
And I lost.
Okay. That was because, my next question.
We didn't bring our own camels. They give you a camel.
Okay.
They gave me literally, I think, their fastest camel, but most of the camel jockeys weighed about 110, 120 pounds, and I was like 195 pounds. Poor camels, but it was a great experience.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
And camels can run like extended amounts of time, 25 miles an hour.
Yes. Yeah, they can. And that's where that race actually started. It was a grudge race between a horse and a camel. Two farmers in Australia, they used camels to build a railroad. When they got halfway across the continent, in Alice Springs, that's right in smack in the middle of that humongous continent, they let the camels go, and they thrived in that environment. And so they use camels like we use horses here for the big cattle ranches, and they ride them, they herd the cattle, they do everything with camels. And back when they first started doing that, it was a grudge between two cattle ranchers, and one said the horse is better, and the other guy said camel. They did a race, and the camel won.
and so this isn't like a quarter-mile race. This is...
It is. It's just like around
Okay.
Circle track.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was multiple heats, so throughout the day, I don't know, I raced several times.
Yeah.
And lost, except for one. They called it the free-for-all, where they put every camel out there at one time. And these camels weren't trained like ours. Ours were, for the most part, like a horse. I mean, their camels were crazy. And when they start the race, the first minute of the race, we're all just, it's like a bucking bronco. You're just trying to stay on, and people are getting trampled and thrown off. And then camels are going once they are all going in the right direction, then whoever can hang on. Won. I took third place. I hung on.
Yeah.
These are just camels they found out in the middle of the desert?
Yeah.
When was the last time that you were riding a camel? Was that it?
No. I probably 1985 would probably be the last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One last race at Bay Meadows?
No, it's just we gave camel rides.
Okay.
Yeah, at Marine World. So.
Okay.
And we would, we would put the saddles, and we'd have younger camels that we had to break and stuff like that. So we're always riding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to get your business in front of a loyal local audience? Between Shifts brings coastside stories to life with real conversations, local legends, and plenty of laughs. Sponsorships include custom ad reads, shout-outs in episodes, and visibility across all our socials, all designed to connect your brand with engaged listeners who support local. Now please email betweenshiftspod@gmail.com for any inquiries. Thank you. So when it comes to woodworking, I mean, what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Oh, okay. So 40 years ago, when I started, I loved the woodworking aspect of it. I'd say now with the business, what I don't know, my passion right now, 40 years in, is it's all about the people. It's about the employees, and it's about our customers. And making a product that makes people happy and educating them on that product is really exciting. But I have employees that have been with me for 25 years, and some of them that have started, like, I don't know if you guys know Bryce. I mean, it's like he started practically out of high school, and see him, he's a phenomenal cabinet maker now, and seeing people's skills just develop. And I think those are my passion. I love business. I love processes and making things better, and producing the highest quality cabinetry at the most fairest price possible. That's something I learned from my uncle. He said, don't get greedy. Treat people well, give them your best that you can. You have to respect the business. It's got to be profitable to survive, but it's about being fair. But yeah, I work with a wonderful group of people, and that motivates me.
Awesome. And then this is just me being curious, but do you guys do any of your own like logging and like wood sourcing?
No.
Okay.
No, our business is, it's so funny. When I'm kind of towards the finish line in my career. Not that I ever would sell the business or leave the business or anything, but as far as my role is going to be changing drastically in the coming, not so distant future.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of reflecting, and when I reflect, it's so much about the relationships, and our relationships are, with our long-term clients and our employees, but also our suppliers. And it's all special in its own way. But we don't do logging or harvesting.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, did you, you said you built all the furniture when you and Cindy got married. Did you keep any of that?
So part of it is, have you been in our backyard?
I probably have, but.
My son-in-law, Joel, do you know Joel?
Oh, yeah.
So he's a crazy mountain biker, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the first piece of furniture I made for Cindy was our bed. And it was a 4-post bed with a back headboard with a heart in it. And we outgrew the bed. And I mean, it was so old. I took it apart and stored it in the garage. And Joel took it and made it into a bench, and a swinging bench, and he hung it from the redwood tree. So and then there's an armoire in our bedroom that I made. But the bed was the first piece, and that's still on our property and it'll probably be there forever.
As a swing now, or a swinging bench.
Yes,
that's really, really cool.
I get to swing on it with my grandkids.
Yeah, that's awesome. Better. Yeah. What do your grandkids call you? Dude.
It started out. so there's this beautiful woman that lives up on Kings Mountain. Her name's Cindy. And she's kind of the matriarch of the mountain. She volunteered as a music teacher at Kings Mountain School for a number of years. And so she was part of my kids growing up. And when Emily was pregnant, she came up to me and she said, "Marty, your grandfather name is going to be Granddude." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds cool." I told the kids that. So they're like, "Yeah, we're with that." So Emily and Andrew would always call me Granddude in front of Ophi when she was first born. And so she heard that until she started talking. She just would hear Granddude. And we have another house out in the valley where my other shop is, and it's got a swimming pool. And I was walking from our barn back into the house, and she's in the swimming pool with Emily. And this is the first time I heard her call my name, but it was shortened. And, she was maybe a year and a half, 2 years old at the time. And I just hear, "Dude." Now look, and she goes, "Dude, come in." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So now all three of them call me Dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the perfect grandpa name.
Yeah. You can't beat that.
It's so I love that. Well, quick transition here, but we're going to go into the Half Moon Bay Surf Club. And it's incredible in so many ways, including the development and just giving a clear-cut path to surfers, being able to get into the competition. You founded that in 2007, or co-founded it in 2007. Right, yeah. What did you kind of see as the future for the club?
Okay, so that just kind of happened. So some people don't agree with me, but back then you could go to Kelly Street or States or whatever you want to call it year round, and there'd be waves. And I just remember surfing there in the summer with all these kids, and we were just having a great time. And they would always ask me, "Hey," they knew I was involved with the high school, and said, "We need a surf team." I'm like, "Yeah, that would be cool." This is in 2006, I believe. Okay. And then I was on the parent advisory council at the high school. I was a treasurer, and we would host a freshman orientation night where all the parents could bring their kids and they could see all the different clubs and stuff like that. And we had a parent advisory council, and a good friend of mine, Doug Acton, famous surf photographer, came up to me and said, "Marty, you guys got all this great stuff at school, but where's the surf team?" I'm like, "I know, we need a surf team." So, my daughter, Sarah, both my girls, they know how to get me to do anything. Sarah and her friend Kirsten started, literally nagging me every day, "Daddy, we need a surf team. We need a surf team." And I'd see the kids at school, "We need a surf team." So I'm like, okay. So I reached out to I reached out to the ISF, which is the International Scholastic Surfing Federation, and said, "Do you guys have competitions up this far up north?" And she goes, "Yeah, we have a league in Santa Cruz." I'm like, "Really? What would it take to get in?" She goes, "Well, there's no space because we're locked up. But check back with us next year." So, same thing. Waited the season. Next year, the kids are nagging me at school. "We need a surf team. We need a surf team." I called up the ISF again and said, "Hey, we'd like to be part of the league. Is there an opening?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, she said, I think it was Ben Lomond or one of the schools out there. She goes, "They just dropped out. There's an opening. You can get in right now." And I go, "Well, when do we have to sign up?" She goes, "You need to get your league fees in, everything by next week."
Oh.
So I called up Doug Acton. I said, "Hey, Doug, you want to make this happen?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "We need to find a teacher sponsor." And he's like, "Okay." He didn't know anybody. So I put it back to my daughter and her friend, so Sarah and Kirsten. And they went to who was the most popular teacher at the school at the time, was Shauna McCartney, right?
Yeah.
So I get a call from Sean. She's, "Oh my God, what are you going to make me do?" So she agreed, and she helped promote it. Later that week, I think it was on a Thursday, I brought a ton of pizza to the classroom. 43 kids showed up. They wanted a surf team. I said, "We need $4,000 by next week. So you guys need to come up with $100 each." Now, remember, we were in the middle of the Great Recession then.
Yeah.
People were strapped. I said, "Do whatever you can." That next Tuesday, kids came in. Most of them had $100 checks. Some kids were emptying their piggy banks I don't know if you know, Caitlin Manishin, she shows up literally with like dollar bills, 20s, and some quarters, pennies, and nickels, and whatever. She had her $100.
Yeah.
So we deposited that at the school account, wrote a check, and we were in the league.
Wow.
And in Half Moon Bay, which was so cool, is that we would roll to a contest, and we brought a whole entourage. So you would see at these surf contests back in the day, you would see, Santa Cruz, Aptos, what was the Capitola. You see all the different teams there, and they would have, the kids and then a few parents. Well, Half Moon Bay, we would be just lined with the cliff of just people. And Mark Foyer was coming from the Review, and he was, taking pictures and writing articles. And what was really cool was how this community just got behind all the kids and putting together the surf team, that every time Rocky Rayner would show up to drop Austin off at surf practice, he's handing me checks from It's Italia, from Sam's Chowder House. The biggest single check we ever got was from Jeff Clark, Maverick Surf Shop, $1,000. And then you had Brian Overfelt was like sponsoring, opening up his bar and restaurant for our fundraisers. I mean, these are just really good community people that were just stepping up all over the place to make this happen.
Yeah.
So that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And so where it's gone, I mean, it's taken on a life of its own. It's pretty cool. And what I'm really excited to see is that it's still going to be there when my grandchildren are surfing. That to me will be like the total full circle.
Yeah.
But that year, so I think it was Doug went to the athletic director. We want to see, can we get these kids to get units for the practices and all that? And he's like, "That's not a sport. How do you keep score? There's no ball." Like, whatever, it's fine. We just did our own grassroots thing, and that particular year, I think we changed a lot of the stereotypes of surfing. I was told, I can't say I was confirmed, but I would believe it, that the surf team that year had the highest cumulative GPA at any of the athletics sports in the high school, and we didn't have to play by the rules because we were in a school sport. So if a kid got in trouble, we didn't have to kick him off. We could come up with another plan.
Yeah.
And to see how that worked, and we treated this team like a family, and the kids really gelled. They came up with that term, shared positive experience, which, shared positive experience was community, school, and the surfer. And that just kind of resonated throughout the years and continues today. So,
Yeah. There's another thing that you guys have all over your website, and that's Show Up and Be Kind.
and that's Malcolm Fikes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, back in 2018, our community lost a valued member, and his kind of tagline was "Show Up and Be
Show up
Kind."
and kind. Yeah. And that is the face of the Half Moon Bay surfing community.
Yep.
And that is the motto. I think that's like really been adopted by the surfing community.
Yeah.
It's so cool seeing the sticker. I have them on all my cars.
Yeah.
It is awesome
Yeah.
to see it. It's still everywhere.
Yeah, I still get
Yeah.
goosebumps when I think.
When you think of it,
Yeah.
yeah. Did pretty much all those kids, all 43 of those kids that showed up the first day, stay with it?
They all stayed with it. So, they didn't all compete. We would have practices, and I think we had like 13 slots. So the kids, the way I did it, we had so many kids at the time. I built a spreadsheet, and, I'm not the best surfer, and I'm not the best athlete at really anything, but I know how to, I think my strength was actually like how to shape what I think that we need to shape. And to me, the most important thing was the citizenship, being good people. So being responsible. So if you showed up to practice, you got 10 points right off the bat. And then we would have run 3 sets of double elimination heats. When you get to the final, then you got 3, 2, 1. So first place 3, second place 2, and then 1. And then I would accumulate all those scores, and then the top 13 kids that had the highest scores would then compete in the contest. So, I was really trying to build responsibility first, and then the skills next. So if you were the best surfer, you weren't necessarily going to go in the contest because you were the best surfer if you're not participating in the practices. Now, also, if you helped another kid or coached another kid, or if you even walked up carrying a piece of garbage up off the beach, those were extra points.
Okay.
Nice.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just kind of curious because you had mentioned you went from windsurfing, and then you had the whole Sac State time. You said you took a break from surfing. So when was it after moving back to the coast side that you kind of took back up with surfing?
that's when my daughter was in 6th grade.
Okay.
So Emily and Sarah both really wanted to get into surfing. Sarah was in, I think, 4th grade, and Emily was in 6th grade. And so my neighbor lived across the street from me. He had a bunch of old boards. He handed me a board. By that time, I didn't even have a surfboard anymore. Actually, I still had a cowboy, but it was so old and beat. He handed me a dugout. He said, "Here, you can teach the girls how to surf on it." It was like an 8.0 kind of mini longboard. And I started taking the kids down to Cowles.
Yeah.
Gentle, easy wave, and I would just walk out and I'd push them into waves, and I'm like, oh yeah, I miss doing that. So then I got a board, and I started, every time they'd take them surfing, then I would start surfing again. And then, living on Kings Mountain, you got to drive for everything, right? So
Yeah.
everything we did was right here in Half Moon Bay, or for whatever reason, both my kids at the time, they would find their best friends would be in Montera, the 2 furthest reaches of the coastside communities, right? So,
Of course.
so Cindy would say, "Oh, you want to drive Sarah over to Lucy's house?" And she's in Montera. I'm like, "Sure."
If I'm going to drive.
So I would
50
drive her, and
minutes. Yeah.
they would hang out for 4 hours. I'd go surf. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even drive home, and then I'd pick them up. So I started surfing a lot when the kids were, when they
Okay.
were little.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And all our family trips then started gravitating around surfing. And, I still had all my connections with my friends from Southern California, so we're doing family trips down there a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And then what What's the most rewarding thing that has come out of surf club for you?
Oh, probably the most rewarding thing is, unfortunately, it didn't come to fruition today. But I don't know if you knew. You guys are too young. You didn't know Caitlin, but she was on our very first surf team, and after high school, she went to Humboldt, and then she moved up to Alaska, and she worked for the National Park System as a ranger, or I think a scientist actually. And then she lives up in Homer, Alaska. So she's just an example of what I love. Every time she comes in town, she calls and says, "Let's go surfing."
Nice.
And I get that a lot with the kids over the years that have moved away. But also just I saw, Peter Lungard a couple weeks ago at CNG, and just seeing these kids and surfing with them, that's really rewarding. Seeing them grow into these amazing adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got to ask, because I know growing up with Cole, he always talked about this guy that only rode a single speed. What was with the single speed bikes?
Okay.
What drew you to that? When did you start it?
It came out of necessity one winter. I'm trying to remember what bike I had at the time. It was probably a Scott Scale. And it was a pretty high-end one. It had a XTR carbon cage on the derailleur.
Yeah.
And I broke it 3 times.
Okay.
And it was just sucking up twigs and branches and stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to ride through this winter no matter what. And so I thought, I'm just going to convert it to single speed. So I bought the little kit to convert it to single speed. And I don't even know why I got that thought of doing it. Oh, I remember. I was watching a YouTube video of a guy that was making a really unique, it was a titanium single speed mountain bike, and he was seeing him riding this trail, and he's just saying the connection is, there's no gears, there's no dropper posts, it's just me and the bike and whatever. And I thought that was kind of romantic. I thought that was cool. So I'm like, I'll just give it a shot. So I did it. And then I went and rode my normal loop I would do at Skeggs like 3 or 4 times a week, and about killed me. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. It's like,
yeah,
and then it became like this challenge. It's like, if I can do this whole ride without having to get off my bike and puke or whatever, then I feel like I accomplished something. So over the course of a few months, I was able to I could ride the entire loop.
Did you clear the Manzanita Rock Garden uphill on a single speed?
Yeah, I used to. I can't anymore.
That is savage. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
A very hard, I've done that on an e-bike and still messed up. And I think I've cleaned it once out of however many times I've tried it.
Yeah. I think at one time I used to session it. I would just get right in front of it, and I would do it, 10 times in a row.
Yeah. That's the only way that I cleared it, was just trying it over.
I would say, single speed, once I'm addicted to it. So that's still my favorite way to ride. The thing with the single speed is I really do believe that it will make you a better rider.
Yeah.
It makes you really think. Every line you pick can either zap your momentum or maintain your momentum, and momentum's the key. And so, like that Manzanita Rock Garden, trying to granny up it and losing traction and whatever. But if you are thinking in the mindset of a momentum and maintaining that momentum, which you have to do with single speed, you'll get it.
That's pretty awesome. And then I know that you're big into off-roading, overland, Jeeps, all that sort of stuff. What's your favorite memory from one of your Jeep trips over the years?
Well, so you've heard of the Rubicon Trail?
Yes.
Okay, so my kids grew up on that trail. I mean, that was like Mitchell's family.
Yep. Is that a yearly thing for you?
It was several times a year.
Okay.
and it wasn't so much the the wheeling aspect of it was never my goal. The Jeep was simply a tool to get you to really bitchin' places.
Yeah.
And then building the Jeep to make it, so that you're not beating yourself up or the Jeep. That's kind of a cool hobby. But with that is, our families, Mitchell's family, my family, other friends that had kids, they really grew to appreciate this, the outdoors, because we were spending so much time and spending time in a granite carved pool with a waterfall falling into it and chasing after crawdads and seeing all that. It was really gained a really neat appreciation. But being that it was challenging to get these vehicles out there and things would break and you had to pull together as a team, we learned a lot about the importance of teamwork and looking after each other. And that resonated with my kids. And my daughter, Emily, you've probably heard of Venture Free. That's her nonprofit organization that is so focused around outdoors and team building. And I think a lot of that came from those trips that we did.
Yeah. I've never been more prepared to be in the middle of nowhere than when I was with Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about your Bronco a little bit too?
Sure.
That's one of my first memories of meeting you. I think was maybe at Dream Machines or something, and seeing probably the Surf Club still banner across it, but that specific blue Bronco.
Yeah.
Did you restore it yourself? Was that something that you?
It was in decent shape when I bought it. My buddy Bob, who's like one of the battalion chiefs out here, he and I have been into Broncos. I think that Bronco is probably my 5th or 6th Bronco I've had. Okay. But I've had it the longest. I think I've had it 13 or 14 years.
All original Broncos?
All original, yeah, the early Broncos.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was looking online for another Bronco, and I was showing it to Bob, and I'm like, I think I'm going to go get that one. It was out in Phoenix. Because I'm going with you.
Yeah.
So we got on an airplane. We flew out there. I paid for it, and we drove it back the same day. And I've had it ever since. It was like a battleship gray when I first bought it.
Okay.
And so, I did do the interior, and then I had it repainted a long time ago. That was like 11 years ago.
Yep.
And then over the years, it's had a lot of transformations. Has had the engine rebuilt, a new transmission. But I drive it a lot. You probably see it a lot.
I see it all the time.
I think I put 100,000 miles on it since I've got it. It's my favorite daily driver I have.
Yeah.
They might bury me in it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's one of the coolest cars.
I love old cars. Yeah. They in this day and age we're quick to throw things away. Something about old stuff I love, because it's like things can last. You can keep using them, and you can still enjoy them, and they are still quite functional today.
Yeah. No, it's cool seeing it still on the road and see. I don't think anyone uses a Bronco like you do.
No, probably not.
Just curious about when it comes to your Jeeps, and like you've done the Rubicon a lot. Are you one of the people that goes absolutely insane on the Jeep builds, or are you just kind of like 35s, aftermarket suspension, like that's it, kind of?
I'm very much that do the minimal amount of modifications to get the job done. I think
love it. Yeah.
The further you get away from stock, then I don't know. You could take a Jeep. I mean, it's just like a mountain bike, right? The lighter, the better.
Yeah.
So, if you take a Jeep and you go and throw Dana 60 axles on it, and then that adds weight, and you go throw heavy winch and heavy bumpers, that adds weight. Yeah. And, just by physics, you're not necessarily increasing the reliability of it.
Yeah.
But it's a combination of building it right. You want to put the right components in, and then a lot of it's just, driver skill.
Yeah.
Staying sober when you're on the trail.
Having a friend up ahead.
Yeah, spotters. Yeah, all that.
Having someone with a welder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah. always have Matt along.
Did you ever have to do like the fuel pump and a gas can on the side of the Jeep type?
I haven't, but I've been on trips where other people have had to do that. We've had some crazy trail fixes. Yeah.
Broken axles.
I've watched Mitchell's dad, Matt, weld together a differential with 2 car batteries and welding rod and a set of jumper cables, and then he made welding glasses out of stacking like 10 sunglasses together and duct taping them together.
Just to weld the diff together.
Yeah. The safest way possible.
Yeah.
And Matt listens too, so thanks, Matt. You're probably listening. Well, with all these Jeep trips, do you have any time to have any day-to-day hands-on in the Village Collection, or is
so? A lot of people, they'll say, "Geez, how do you have so much time to do, mountain bike and surf and that stuff?" What they don't know is I start my day like at 4:30 or 5 every morning. So, by 8:30 or 9 o'clock, when a lot of people are getting to work, I already put a half a day's worth of work in, and if I'm, pretty much if I'm not playing, and I wouldn't say it's work. It's something I love doing.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't work in the shop.
Yeah.
In fact, we have so many new modern pieces of equipment, I don't even know how to operate them anymore. I did do a lot of drawings, technical drawings for the last couple of years. One of our engineers moved on. And so between my brother-in-law and I, we had to kind of fill in that gap.
Okay.
But we hired another engineer. So now my focus is getting to a finish line, whatever that's going to be. So I'm really focused on the company and the processes and the policies and all that. So that's going to be an easy handoff for make it as successful for my successors.
Yeah. And then you get to spend more time with the grandkids, spend more time on the bike.
That's the goal.
Yeah, there you go. And then did you have anything coming up in the pipeline for between the Village Collection, Surf Team, anything else in life that you're looking forward to? Yeah,
I think the things I'm looking forward to is, with the Village Collection is getting the, continue growing the company, I think is really my goal with the Village Collection, to give as much opportunity to the people that have been with us for a long time. And also to be able to continually service our customers. Our customer base just keeps growing year after year after year. So a lot of focus is there. And then aside from that, yes, family time is really big. I really want to, I'd like to circle back and help my daughter more with what she's doing with the Venture Free Foundation, and Surf Team's taken on its own life. I'm still on the board of directors.
Yep.
And I resigned from being president at the end of this last season. So I'm vice president for right now, which is the easiest job whenever you're on a board. If you ever get on a board of directors, go for VP.
Vice president.
Yeah. Don't do treasurer. Yeah. But, so, probably more probably just continued more community involvement, more time with the kids.
Okay.
And spending time with Cindy and, all the stuff.
And I don't know if we ever talked about what you actually do now, mostly with the Village Collection.
I'm surrounded by so many talented people that.
But I mean, what does the actual Village Collection do now?
So the Village Collection, we do focused on high-end residential, custom cabinetry, architectural stuff. And when I say high-end, that means that we do these incredible homes in Atherton, Woodside, Portola Valley, Hillsborough, but we do a lot right here in Half Moon Bay. In fact, I work with a really talented designer, Lisa, and Jamie. I don't know if you ever heard of Verdura Construction. I mean, we're like a team together, and I work a lot with those guys, and I love the Half Moon Bay clientele and community.
Yeah.
And we really try and market ourselves well in this demographic here.
Yeah, and for those people that don't know Jamie, he does humongous houses, custom houses all over the coast in Hillsborough, and he pretty much takes on the jobs that are too big for most other contractors.
Yeah. No, he's amazing. He's got quite the crew. Really, really talented group of people that he works with.
So high-end kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had touched on that before. But
And then if you had to leave the listeners with one takeaway from just, I don't know, your approach to life, your motto, what would you say that is?
Well, I have a few things that I could say on that. I'd say, especially to young people or anybody, but if you're young and you're trying to figure out your life or whatever, to me, the priorities would go in the order of relationships first, experiences, and then stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you get your relationships right. And that doesn't necessarily mean, that you have to get married right away or anything, but you have solid relationships around you, and that could be your friends and your family or your support network. You can do anything. And if you have your relationships right, then everything else just comes so much easier. I think that if what I tell the surfers when they start every year is like, first thing, if you're going to embark in surfing, you're lucky. And I'll tell you why you're lucky. You live by the coast. I mean, it's like, if you think about anywhere in the world, the most expensive real estate in the world is always within 5 miles of the ocean.
Yep.
So if you want to live by the ocean, you need to pay attention because it doesn't come easy, and you got to seriously turn around and thank your parents because you're here because they worked hard and they focused and they got you here. So no matter what you do for a job or whatever you do professionally, it's fairly easy. You show up on time. You pay attention, do what you're told, learn, and you progress, and you will be successul. And I think that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I love that.
And I didn't always do things right, and I still don't. I still make a lot of mistakes, but we all learn, right?
Yeah.
I always say pick mentors. I had a lot of mentors, and that's and it's not my father-in-law, my dad, my uncle. And I also had a lot of friends that are mentors, and I've sometimes, some of them, friends of mine that are 10 years older than me. I bounce a lot of ideas off of my friends that have business experience or other experiences, and we share a lot. I think that's really important. It's just always share your ideas.
it's not always what you know too,
Yep. Yeah. They keep you in check.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you gotta have somebody tell you when something's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we're kind of come up to the end of it. Do you want to tell people where to find you as far as Village Collection, Surf Team, and Red Triangle?
Well, Village Collection, our showroom's in Belmont. You can look us up online. It's www.thevillagecollection.net. Surfing, you're going to see me at summertime. I'm going to be San Tenitas, and wintertime could be Kelly Street, Dunes, Ross's, whatever. Or you'll find me up at Skeggs or Prisma. I'm riding my bike.
Nice.
And then do you have a part, I guess you're still the VP of, you want to pump up the surf team?
So right now, the sign-ups are closed for the season, but for the surf team, surf club, look for us in the fall. Red Triangle, it's still under the Half Moon Bay website, hmbsurf.com.
Okay.
And that may change, I don't know, but
But currently under a new name of Red Triangle.
Yeah, Red Triangle came about with the merger, so we've expanded into Pacifica, and also under the board riders. Red Triangle board riders are under our umbrella now too.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
it's
thanks
been
for
a pleasure.
having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Very
checking
fun.
on. All right.
Welcome back to the Between Shifts podcast. This is our recap for Marty Phelps.
And what a guy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yep.
Awesome. I didn't expect all these stories. I didn't realize that like Marine World was in Redwood City for as many years as it was.
Some crazy takeaways are, for one, Marine World being in Redwood City. 2, he rode camels and technically raced them professionally, which is absolutely ridiculous.
For camel racing too, like for J.R. Reynolds or R.J. Reynolds,
Yeah.
like for the cigarette company.
Yeah. And then, dude, when he landed and they gave him a credit card and a car, like that's
All expenses paid.
Yeah,
when I
all
thought
expenses paid, fully
yeah.
sponsored, like camel racer.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Crazy. And then he's owned and operated
The Village Collection.
the Village Collection for 40 years,
Yeah.
which crazy. And I don't really think we touched on it enough. I know that we just covered it at the end, but yeah, it's custom cabinetry.
Yep.
High-end custom cabinetry. And yeah, I just found it so fascinating how he like found that niche, coming from like a dad in the tech world, an uncle who did wallpaper, handling elephants,
And then
like-
getting a BSN Sac State.
yeah, and then
Just
like
coming
going to
out,
college, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make make furniture," which
Yeah.
it's kind of a crazy way to go, but clearly it worked out for him.
And now he's got 2 shops. He has one out in the valley and one in Belmont, with a showroom being in Belmont. And it's grown exponentially from
Yep.
starting at picture frames.
Yeah, and it allows him to surf, mountain bike, be there for his grandkids.
Dude.
I kind of wanted to talk a bit more about the whole Rubicon trips and everything like that, but I think for him it's such like a minuscule part of what he does in his life. Like it's just kind of like you know, like a trip or 2 a year type of thing. And
I think it was a big thing, especially when the kids were younger too. Like
Yeah.
all the kids would go out, and that's what that was their family vacations, right?
Yeah.
So when they were going out and doing, everyone else would go to Hawaii or whatever. They'd go out and go to wherever, Blue Lake and Tahoe and Rubicon, and go out to like the coolest place you could possibly get using the machinery you own, and just end up in the middle of nowhere. And luckily they had Matt with him who can weld anything at anything.
yeah, that's insanely cool.
Yeah. I can't get over the camel racing.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's I didn't know whether to just like laugh the whole time or like, you know, jaw on the floor. It's just kind of you don't hear about that.
Yeah.
I
Also, like all the delinquent elephants. Like, do you think when the job application was going in, they were like, by the way, we get all like secondhand elephants from like the ones that aren't good.
I mean, living in a trailer at a zoo, essentially, where, like he said, like you could hear lions roaring and just like elephants going, like, but he was in Redwood City.
Times have changed. Huh?
Yeah, it's something different for sure.
Yeah, what was Marine World and had elephants and spider monkeys is now an Oracle building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spider monkeys, I would be way more intimidated than it sounded like he was just dealing with monkeys in your day-to-day life. Like
8 years as like a majority elephant trainer.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, did you ever go to Bay Meadows when it's a racetrack that they closed down? Horse racing was pretty big, and it was in the East Bay.
No.
They had like $1 Wednesdays where you'd go out and get like $1 beers and hot dogs, and pretty much everyone would just go gamble. But
Yeah.
what a time! And
What's with? Okay, I'm confused. Why is gambling on horses allowed, but other gambling is not?
I don't even remember if gambling was allowed, because I probably wasn't old enough when we were going there. But
Yeah.
that is a good question.
But it's like, because like you know, traditionally you can't gamble unless it's like on a reservation or like California, like state sponsored lotteries. Like what makes
gaming, right? Because like you can play poker because it's not a
I guess that's true. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, because there's like card rooms here.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to
okay.
look up gambling laws and get back to you guys. If you guys are watching on YouTube, we are missing Gavin. We are missing Gavin. If you're just listening, I'm sure you probably also figured out that we were missing Gavin.
Yep. He missed his first one, so now he can't give me shit for missing. I think I've missed one or two. But
I've missed like 12.
Yeah. It's
missed
okay.
a couple more.
It's okay.
But back from injury, so I'm back and better than ever. My
Yep.
ADHD's going crazy.
Yep.
All right, guys.
thank you for listening. Tune in to Between Shifts podcast.
Find it on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate your continued support, and we will catch you next week.
Yep. See ya.
Thanks, dude.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, we're brought to you by Bikeworks HMB, your one-stop shop for bike service, sales, and rentals in Half Moon Bay, California. Whether you're on the mountain, road, or low on battery, Bikeworks HMB has your back. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support this podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at betweenshiftspod@gmail.com. The link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. GT signing off.